All right, welcome back to our tips for Tuesday. This week we're going to cover the kettlebell swing. So two variations of the swing that we're going to cover is the Russian swing and the American swing. And we're going to go over some common faults that we'll see with the swing and some corrections that we can use to help mitigate those problems and make the swing look like as it should. So today we have Philip, one of our members here at the gym, and he's happy here to demonstrate the kettlebell swing. We promised we would not make it too heavy for him today, but rule number one, got to look cool, so you got to swing some weight around at least. So we're going to talk about the setup of the swing, and the setup should always look the same. So in some workouts we'll do 10, 15, 20 Russian kettlebell swings, and some other ones we'll see a lot of volume where we get upwards of maybe 100 kettlebell swings, right? And when we get up to that type of number, we want to make sure that that last rep of kettlebell swings looks just like the first rep. So when fatigue starts to set in, you want to always resort back to correct form, posture, and technique. All right, so when we set up for the kettlebell swing, Philip's going to show us proper positioning here. We talked about last week the knees out and screwing the knees out. That is definitely one thing that you want to maintain here when you're doing the swing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go down into that position. So if you can see here, the kettlebell is placed out in front of him, not underneath him. So it's not like he picks it up in a squat and then uses the hips to kind of start swinging. As he starts with the swing, it's like hiking a football. All right, we'll demonstrate that here in a moment. But one thing I wanted to show you is when he's down here in this position, he's taking his shoulders and externally rotated them. So he's screwing his shoulders in, packing these shoulders just as he's doing with his knees. All right, his feet are flat. We're talking about a nice neutral spine here. He's not hyperextending the neck. He's got a neutral neck here, so head is down a little bit. All right, so we got a nice straight line through here. Okay, so go ahead and stand up. All right, so that is the proper setup for the kettlebell. All right, a common flaw that we'll see with the kettlebell swing is that it's important to note that this is a hip hinging exercise, all right, and it's not a knee flexion exercise, so you don't want to turn it into a squat. All right, so what we'll see people do is just do a virtual one, like the squat technique swing, right? We'll see that kind of situation here. So do like a squat swing, right? So that's kind of the deal here, where you pick it up with a squat and you start swinging it. Or we'll see people just start swinging like this, okay? It's like kind of full squat type of swing, when in reality it's going to be a hip hinge, not so much a knee flexion piece here. All right, so if we have somebody here that is not doing the swing with the hip hinge and really shooting the hips back, we call it, right, and they're doing more of a squat, they're wasting a lot of energy in their legs to do that swing. All right, not to mention it's just not the proper form. So what we'll use here is a PVC stick as an implement for a target. All right, we'll just call it a butt target, essentially, is what it comes down to. So we'll just place it behind the athlete here, and we'll say, all right, Philip, this is the target. I want your hips to touch this stick, all right, as you go down and set up. So you're just going to go down, set up, right? So that's where we are, right here, okay? And then let's just, don't even use the kettlebell, but let's just do a couple swings of the virtual swings that we were talking about. So hike it back, pop it. And then every time he comes back, he wants to shoot the hips back until he touches the stick. Okay, right, good, relax. All right, so I want more of a hip hinge, right, than a squat. So really work on pushing the hips back. So go down, go down, go down, go down, up. Good, go down, up. Okay, go down, and then up. Okay, so that's what we're looking for, is more of a hip hinge than a squat type of technique. All right, now a couple other things that we want to look for is this is going to be a forceful hip and knee extension. All right, so you got to be fast coming out of that swing position. So go ahead and go down in the position, right? As he comes up, so you can see he's got knees flex, hips flex. As he comes up, so go ahead and stand up, right? It's hip extension, knee extension, all right? But it's got to be fast. We need to understand that this is a hip exercise, and it's all about speed through the hips in order to get the kettlebell to swing and move. All right, one of the things I did early on in my career with kettlebells was when I started doing swings, my arms were getting smoked. And the deal was I was not using my hips. I was using my arms to get the kettlebell up. All right, so too much arms. Your arms are actually relaxed, okay? They're just going along for the ride like a pendulum on a clock. All right, just swinging back and forth. So even though these are packed, externally rotated, and screwed in, all right, they are relaxed to a point where the bell should just kind of fly up because you're creating enough force with the hips, all right? So just come and step out here and do a couple, do 5 virtual swings for us at speed. Okay, so hike it back, pop, hike it back, pop, hike it back, pop. Good. Okay, so it's got to be pop it, all right? Forceful hip and knee extension, all right? As opposed to a slow motion type of deal, you're going to find you're going to have to use more shoulders and arms to get the bell up to where we want it to go. All right, so what's the definition of a Russian swing? Basically, the bell is coming up to about parallel to the ground or about eye level is what we're looking for, whereas the American swing turns into an overhead piece. All right, so Philip's going to go ahead and demonstrate a couple. Let's do 5 Russian swings with the kettlebell. All right, and then as he's doing this, oh, you know what? Before you do that, the other piece I want to talk about was the feet. All right, another common flaw that we'll see in here is as they come up from the swing, we'll see them come up on their toes. All right, so they'll see the swing look like this, right? They'll come here, and as they come up, they let the force of the hips and the bell pull them up on their toes. All right, you're going to become off balance by doing that. You want to stay grounded with the feet just like you would in a squat. So remember, we want to have our heels and our big toe in contact with the ground throughout the swing, whether it's Russian or American. So make sure feet stay flat at all times. Once you come up on your toes, you lost force and power, all right? And then also you're going to lose balance too, because now you got to come back down on the heels to reset your swing, all right? So we're just going to stay grounded with the feet. All right, so Philip, go ahead, let's do 5 reps. So he's going to hike it back, pop it, good. And now breathing also becomes very important here. He's going to breathe in on the way down, very forceful breath on the way up. Give me 3 more, okay? 2, and then 1 more. Good, and then he's going to set it down by bending his hips and knees, okay? All right, so that is what we call the Russian swing, all right? We breathing heavy yet? Yeah, okay. All right, now, the American swing, right? We just couldn't deal, you know, we're in America, right? We're Americans. The Russian swing just doesn't sound right to us. So we had to create our own version because, hey, we're America, and that's what we do. All right, so the American swing now is where we add an overhead component to it. All right, but the deal here is as we go overhead, now the mechanics are going to change, all right, quite a bit, because now it goes from a lower extremity dominant movement to incorporating some upper extremity coordination type movements, all right, and we have to maintain a tight physical active core. All right, so what we'll see here is a fault on the American swing, and when we talk about this, by the way, it's just the bell is going over into an overhead position, okay? All right, so what we'll see here are a couple faults. One, we'll see overextension of the lumbar spine, and we'll see flaring out of the rib cage. So if we could see that position right here, okay, so go ahead and stay there for us, Philip, right? And it's not, yeah, so the ribs are flared out. We lost core control. We got overextension of the lumbar spine. Now we have a lot of stress on L1 through L5, even down to S1. Okay, so we want to avoid that position right there. Okay, and then also we'll see what I call lazy wrists. All right, lazy wrists, lazy elbows. So they'll come up overhead. So if you could just show me what that position looks like.
Not wrist, right?
Wrist and elbows, you know how we're talking, yeah. So we'll see wrists relaxed, elbows relaxed. All right, we don't have an engagement in the core and the lats, and the bell just kind of hangs here, right? The deal is we want the bottom of the bell to actually face up towards the ceiling or the sky. All right, so that's another piece that we want to look for. So we want to have nice, active, tight wrists. So we're squeezing, all right, I call it the Kung Fu death grip overhead. We want to have nice, tight grip overhead. And the other thing we want to have is active lats. So go back down. So once he comes back up with the swing, he's maintaining active lats, and then as he goes back down to the swing, he's actually contracting his lats and pulling the kettlebell back down, all right? And as it comes back down, the hips actually become a catching type of apparatus. So you're going to catch the kettlebell with your hips into your next swing. So just do a couple virtual ones for us. So set it up, go down like you're going to hike it, right? Pop it back, and then boom, right? Nice, come all the way, a full hip and knee extension, but don't overextend. Boom, pull it down. Boom, pull it down. Good, pull it down. All right, okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for. So active lats, a hollowed out core, not overextending, and then making sure our wrists and elbows are in good straight position. So we're going to give Philip a little bit of a lighter kettlebell here just so we can demonstrate 6 or 7 good reps here. All right, so just keep going until I say stop. All right, all right. So good position of the kettlebell, right? We got a pack shoulders, head down, head down. All right. And he's gonna hike it back, breathe in, breathe out. Right. Okay. Active wrists at the top, nice tight lats. Okay. We're not overextending the spine. Give me 3 more. Okay. 2, and then last one. Good. That was a good position right there for the American swing. So that's one thing that those are a bunch of pieces that we're looking for on that. All right. Okay. So, Philip, thanks very much for stepping in. I do want to go over just a final piece here. So just to reiterate kind of what we went through in this video, our points of emphasis. So the Russian swing is going to be feet flat, neutral straight spine, packed shoulders, externally rotated, locked in. Remember that it's a hip hinging exercise and not so much a knee flexion exercise. It's a forceful hip and knee extension as you come up to the top position. Breathing is very important. It's breathing in as you pull in, a forceful exhale at the top, and then recreating that for every rep. As you go into the American swing, we remember all these above points here, and then we add in, we need to maintain a hollow core, so we're tucking this in, not letting it flare out. And then active lats overhead, so that as you come up overhead, you're actively pulling the kettlebell back down and not in a relaxed position. With a weight overhead, you never want to be relaxed overhead. All right. So here in the gym, for folks that are new, we always start them off with versions of the kettlebell swing or the Russian swing first. Once they show all of these points of emphasis are met, all right, we'll start with a lighter weight, introducing American swing variations, and then coaching them on making sure that they are hitting these pieces right here. If we see that they're overextending, all right, we're going to coach them up on this, but probably dial them back down to that. All right. Okay, so that is the kettlebell swing, and that's all we have for you this week. Until next time, see you later.